or anywhere else in the World Wide Web. We are very happy to have you join us on this occasion. My name is Susanne Jäger. I'm the exhibition coordinator at the GWZO, and I will be also the master of ceremony today and guide us through the next 1.5 hours. A quick overview of our today's program. We will start with 2 words of greetings. Then we will briefly explain the connection between the research program of our institute and today's exhibition. And after that, we will very quickly hand over to the curator of our exhibition, Alexandra Arkhipova, and her team for the presentation. So we'll start hereby, and I hand over to Maren Röger, director of our Leibniz-Institut. Please.
Thank you very much, Susanne, for this kind introduction to today's event, and also for coordinating the works regarding or relating to this exhibition. It is my pleasure to open today this event that was, as Susanne Jäger already pointed out, realized in cooperation with the Forschungsstelle Osteuropa in Bremen, a research institute with a focus on the region, with whom we cooperate already since quite a while. The exhibition idea, or it's thanks to the colleagues at the FSO in Bremen, it was their idea to implement this exhibition together. And this offer is one that we immediately and gladly accepted. The exhibition is, of course, also a chance for us to once again show our position in regard to the political events in our research region, since Russia expanded its aggressions, its war on the whole territory of Ukraine in February 2022. This has, of course, changed our research, has changed our lives, and especially the lives of all our colleagues who originally stem from the region and from the country. We as GWZO tried as much as we could and still try to support our Ukrainian colleagues, and try also to support those colleagues from Russia who speak out against the war and who position themselves. With this exhibition, we also want to contribute to a better understanding in the broader German society about the state of the Russian civil society at the moment. The more control there is of the official media in Russia, the less, of course, we here in Germany understand or hear about ongoing signs and sometimes small signs of protest. So we try somehow to look with this exhibition beyond this kind of curtain and to see what signs of protest are still to be seen in the Russian civil society. In the state media, we hear about the massive, in our media, not state media, public media, we see and read a lot about massive police operations, about arrests and the power of state propaganda. And after a while, after the war started, so then the public protests were more visible, but now the signs from Russia mainly reach us through colleagues who have still family and friends there, so we get an impression about those who still try to persist. So it's thanks to the curator Alexandra Arkhipova and her fellows that we see these countless small street art actions across Russia. They had documented and contextualized them since the outbreak of the war, like full aggression on 24th February 2022. And they documented it, at least what we see in this exhibition, until June 2023. So the Russian public is silent, but in this exhibition, parts of it are becoming visible. And it is using creative ways to express kind of private or a small scale, sometimes even micro scale resistance. So it is now up to me to say first a few words of thanks once again to Susanne Jäger, and also to our colleagues from the Forschungsstelle Osteuropa in Bremen, but of course also to the curator and her team, Alexandra Arkhipova, about whom we will hear some more words now.
Vielen Dank, Maren. Jetzt würde ich gleich übergeben an Susanne Schattenberg. Ich bitte, jetzt zu sprechen, damit wir Sie dann auch alle im Worldwide sehen können. Now I would like to switch over and hand over the word to Susanne Schattenberg, Director at the Research Center in Bremen, and ask her to start talking so she will be visible on our screens. Thank you. Mrs. Schattenberg, I have seen you already. Could you please start?
No. Yes, thank you. I was not able to switch on the volume myself. So thank you for giving me the volume, and thanks a lot for inviting me. Thanks a lot to Maren Rödeger for bringing us together here. And it's a great pleasure to me to open this exhibition together with the GWZO and with Sasha Arkhipova and her team. Niet wablé, or no wobble, which is translated as no to the fish or no to the Caspian roach, but it means something very different. It means no to the war, or niet wojnie. So no to the war or no war is a slogan, as we all know, forbidden in Russia. If you say it, you may get a sentence of 15 years imprisonment for spreading lies about the Russian army or discrediting the army. So smart people replaced niet wojnie with niet wablé. Even more, they painted the word with three stars replacing the middle letters and on the street. And when court claimed it did not mean vojna, so war, but wobbler, that means fish. But even this slogan is fined today in Russia. If you search for it in the Russian internet, the first result you find is a lawsuit. So aside from the internet, where you can read the court review the case of No Fish and find a Russian woman for the inscription. At the trial, which took place in October 2022, Elisa Klimentova managed to prove that she did not intend to discredit anyone. And in fact, her inscription expressed her dislike for fish. Allegedly, it means no wobbler. That time, the court agreed with the girl's announcement, dropped the charges. But the police, pushing for a sentence, returned the case back to court. Today, that was in December last year, it was reviewed and Elisa was still found guilty of discrediting the Russian army. End of quote. In the social media, Kontakte, you even can find a song which was written in honor to Elisa. And also there are a lot of funny uses of wobbler, like wobbler imir, meaning fish and peace by Lev Tolstoy. So what does this tell you? Firstly, as we all know, since February 2022, Russia is waging a cruel war against Ukraine, but does not call it a war, just a special military operation. And the Russian state does not hesitate to take any measure to forbid its population to call it war. In the first days after the war, hundreds of intellectuals still signed a petition against the war. And there was open protest on the streets, although demonstrations were already not allowed. So in early March 2022, the Russian Duma passed a law threatening with up to 15 years of imprisonment to those who publish fake news about the army. Even those who just held up a white paper were now arrested. Secondly, the Russians are very resourceful to express their solidarity with Ukraine and their bewilderment of their own state and aggression. They placed little Playmobil toys with anti-war slogans or just white flags, or they placed the novel 1984 by George Orwell in the windows of shops or restaurants to express their opinion about the state turning into a dictatorship and a surveillance state. They create stickers, graffitis, leaflets, installations, or they call the war fish. It reminds me of the times of the Soviet Union when open opinion had to be concealed. But Samizdat, as we collected here in Bremen, so publishing uncensored text in the underground, was something different. It was the open word in a covered sphere of privacy or unofficial partial public sphere. Here, with no wobble, we find a covered or hidden message in the public, on house walls, bus stations, open squares, or even streets. So we could say that today's protest is more inventive, artful, creative, and the texts are much shorter. But they fit well into the tradition of expressing one's thoughts despite severe censorship and the threat of punishment. Indeed, the authors of the objects and messages do refer to the Soviet dissidents and other predecessors. They decorated a statue of Andrei Sakharov with a plate saying, "I was once stripped of all decorations and awards and medals for speaking up against the war in Afghanistan. Today I would have been stripped of them for the second time." Or they quote the poet Asit Mandelstam, who died in a labor camp in 1938 after having written a defamatory poem on Stalin, now obviously relating it to Putin, and I quote, "We live not feeling the earth beneath us, and 10 paces our words evaporate. But when there's the will to crack open our mouth, our words orbit the Kremlin mountain man." End of quote. And of course, they also relate to Lev Tolstoy, who was famous for his pacifism and also suffered from censorship under the Tsar. So these are only some examples of the wonderful exhibition and the nearly 500 objects Sasha Arkhipova and her team collected from nearly 50 towns. The exhibition shows a different Russia, creative, colorful, smart, peace-loving, humorous, but also shocked, desperate, angry, and mournful. Maybe we could call it, following Samizdat or Tamizdat, Woblizdat. So this is just my suggestion. And I have the honor to introduce Sasha Arkhipova to those who don't know her. She has been several times in Bremen with fellowships from the Alexander von Humboldt Foundation or the DRD. She is a very outstanding anthropologist investigating the everyday life and semiotics of folklore of Russians in the Soviet Union and now under Putin. In Moscow, she worked in leading positions at several renowned institutions at the Russian State University of the Humanities, the Russian Academy of National Economy, the Higher School of Economics, and lastly, the Moscow Higher School of Social and Economic Sciences, the Shaninka. In spring 2022, she left Russia after a stay at our center here in Bremen. She continued to Paris, where she's still located and affiliated today. In May this year, the Russian Ministry of Justice added her to the list of foreign agents. Among several publications, she has 2 books published. The first is called, or has the title, Jokes About Stalin, Text, Comments, Analysis, published in Russian in Moscow 2010. And the second one has the title, Dangerous Soviet Things, Urban Legends and Fears in the USSR, also published in Moscow 2020 in Russian. So I hand over to Sasha Arkhipova, and I wish the exhibition a great success and a lot of viewers from Russia. Thank you.
Dear colleagues, dear Suzanne, thank you for introduction, and thank you. I'm very happy under the circumstances to be here, and now we can look through this exhibition and to discuss it. Thank you, Suzanne, for Tam is that, Sam is that, and Wobble is that. It's a great joke. I like it a lot. And I should mention that it's not only me who was doing that. There was a huge team, both from 2 institutions, Forschungsstelle Osteuropa and Leipzig Institution, and also there is a lot of my friends and colleagues, and there is a team who was helping me, and I'm very happy to say that some of them are here now together with us in Zoom. For example, translator and poet Elena Mikhailik from Australia, from Sydney, is here, I guess, and other my colleague. And also I should say that we are eternally grateful for all those people, those whom I called semiotic partisans, semiotic guerrillas, who spent their time to make this graffiti and street art, and who risk their freedom in these attempts to try and to make a difference in this situation. And while I am talking, while we are opening our virtual exhibition, right now, in this moment, today, a Russian government decided to arrest a very famous graffiti artist, Philip Penza. Luckily, he escaped, and now he's in Vilnius, I guess, but they decided to arrest him. They opened a criminal case against him. So the situation is not very good, and the pressure on graffiti artists is also very bad. So, but back to what happens in the beginning of war, in the March 2022, a lot of people, they really don't know what to do. As one of my interviewees told me that there's you can see quotation that I don't want to keep silent. I cannot do anything, and I'm afraid to talk. So in this terrible situation, when your government directly trying to shut you up, to stop you to talk, you cannot discuss anything. There is a terrible laws against discussion the war situation. You even couldn't say war. You need to say special military operation. So in this situation, you need to keep silent. But some people, they don't want to keep silent, but they cannot do anything because they have family, kids, and they have nothing to run. This is the problem. And sometimes, as a woman from St. Petersburg, to whom I was spoken to, sometimes these people, like in this example, wake up in the 3 in the morning while the kids are sleeping. They go outside and they leave small toy figurines of Ukrainian people in the driveways, on the road, on the grass, just to show people some emotion, some empathy. So that's what we are discussing today, these ways of indirect have hidden protest, this weapon of the weak in the terms of James Scott. Also, we can use what we discussed today, semiotic war, because as the real partisans, they trying to blow up trains. Semiotic partisans, they're trying to play with science. Yes, this type of protest, which we're discussing today, it's not going to stop bombing. Yes, but this war is for the place in the public space. Russians who are against the war and who are making these graffiti, they are trying to break this propaganda, and they use these semiotic tools for that. So they're trying to break this information blockage to get Russians over, to get Russians over out of their comfort zone, and to for them acknowledge the existence of the war. This is what my famous graffiti is talking about. It appeared in the St. Petersburg immediately after the war started. It says, "Say war out loud. Скажи вслух война." Accept this fact. It happens not only, of course, in Russia, and happened quite, unfortunately, it happens very often in the history under the many regimes, and people, they try to invent a very hidden, very witty forms how to protest. And also, I should mention this: those partisans which we're discussing today, they're not like groups. It's not a people who already joined together. It's not a real like rebellion. Those people who leave these messages, they're loners. Basically, they even don't have much in common. Only that the fact they are all against the war. They can be part of some underground political, very small groups, but majority of them, they're just loners. And many of them, they never ever participated in any political rallies before. So for them, it's the first attempt to protest. And this is, again, it's protest of loners who wants to see that there are many of them. And they're trying to reach people on the streets. And they try to show that they're trying to show Russian government that they don't obey. As one of our graffiti artists told me, I like to piss them off. It's like a game. So also, I should make a disclaimer about us. First of all, we are not street art experts. We are not interested in the artistic value of these pieces, of these artifacts. For us, every object which you can see in this exhibition, sticker, graffiti, toy, inscription on the bill, on the money bill, all of them, it's an act of protest for us. It's a way of communication. And our goal do. And also, as I already told you, there is a protest of loners. It cannot stop bombing, but it can to show that such loners are not so few. That's why I call them semiotic partisans, because they're trying to leave these signs everywhere. So for organizing this graffiti exhibition, I was making this collection of anti-war street art, and also I use database, my own database for court cases for those who were punished for any anti-war actions. So let us see how weak is this weak protest. For example, during this 1 year and a half, there were more than 700 cases where people were detained for spreading information about war, and in around more than 600 of them, they were graffiti artists, so it's a lot. And at least 72 persons got small criminal charges up to 3 years in prison, and 80 persons, they're facing large criminal charges, including 6, 8, and unfortunately 9 years in prison. So it's a lot. So the price tag on this weak protest is very high. So if you open a website, No Wobby, you can see a lot of strange types, like camouflage, coded message, double bind, direct message, and blah, 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 blah. So those chapters, those are different types of these weak hidden protest. Let's us discuss like type by type. For example, the first, a very simple type, is called direct message, when a graffiti artist, semiotic partisan, he's talking directly to those who are actively supporting the war, or those who are just keeping silence. Why you keep in silence? Is a title of this. This is a text of this graffiti. Also, there is plenty such direct messages, like more than 200 children were killed. What do you think about it? Love against war, and so on. But unfortunately, those type of street art is disappearing very quickly, because is literally disappearing from the streets like in 1 hour. That's why people very often try to use not direct messages to say something about the situation, but indirect messages. But we will talk about it later. Another type of direct message is usually addressing not as a person who is supporting the war, but to the person who is like me, like you, like us. And this type of message, we are calling this sharing of emotions. In this type of street art, people are searching for those who are thinking the same, and they're literally trying to share emotions. Like, for example, dear passerby, I'm against thee too. And thee, it's official symbol of new ideology of the war. Or my favorite graffiti, I'm scared too. And also is one graffiti even without words, when you see two people who are trying to hug each other. It's also about sharing of emotions. It's very scary to live in Russia, so let's find other people who also feel the same. Let's show that it's not only me who is feeling so terrible because of the current situation. Another type of this message, and when people are trying to refuse their own voice, and instead they're trying to use quotations from the famous books, poetry, songs, to to use instead their own voices. Why they need this voice of authority? Because they're trying to show up that those famous people are on our side. That's why an example which was already discussed by Suzanne, the monument of Sakharov, of Andrei Sakharov, who was a very famous dissident in Russia. His monument is telling you that I will be fight with this war too. And for example, there is a lot of such examples. There is a quotations from Remarque, for example, or quotations from the Bible, and these quotations they are made like, I don't know, like advertisements. Also, these semiotic guerrillas, semiotic partisans, they're like typical way of organizing a message is to make a counter message. For example, look here. You can see in this picture, this picture was made before the celebration of the Victory Day in May 2002. You can see this window, and if you can look attentively, you can see a piece of Russian flag in the window. See? Colors. It means that the person who lives inside this window in this apartment, he or she supports the war, supports the politics of Russia. And somebody wrote underneath, everything like in 40s, but we are the fascists now. So this is a typical counter message. We are trying to blow up, to break the official governmental message in the official space. As I should remind you, there is a new symbol of Russian new ideology, letter Z and V, and they turned out to be new public transcript, and all the people, well, not all the people, but many people, especially in schools, they were forced to show the loyalty to the new ideology, like creating these letters Z sometimes from their bodies. And semiotic partisans, they're also trying to play with that. For example, in this graffiti, somebody put a big letter Z in support of Russian troops, in support of Russian ideology, but some semiotic partisan came in the middle of the night and put letters P and C together, surrounding letter Z. So this Z slogan was transformed into an obscenity by adding P and C. So you have the word pizdets, which like fuck you up, something like that. Or another example, it happens in Krasnoyarsk when one journalist, Maria Antyusheva, she came to the huge police briefing, the police station, and when she got off her coat, she turned out to be in her clothes turned out to be in the colors of of yellow and blue, so colors of Ukrainian flag, and that's a typical, very brave but typical counter message. You are trying to break the official symbol by incinerating inside it this counter message, and she was fined for that. Another example of counter message that when you can see, for example, this is a typical social advertisement in Russian metro, and somebody made all the sticker almost looks the same, but the text in the sticker, it's a little bit different. So it says seats for the passengers returning from Ukraine and the mothers, которые нарожают еще, who will give birth to more. So it means that people who are returning from the war in Ukraine, they got a lot of injuries, and the only politics in Russia for mothers that we need more kids to kill them. Also, before we were discussing these types of how we can say something directly and what voice we can use and how we can break the official message, but also there is different types of making this message not so visible and more canny. And those type, there are several such types, and one of them we called camouflage. Camouflage, when you can see something absolutely innocent. For example, after the war started, of course, many corporations, many shops left Russia, including IKEA. So, and everybody in Moscow was obsessed to buy the last things in IKEA. And you can see this small advertisement. So like IKEA sales, you can click on this QR code and find whatever you want about buying the last stuff from IKEA. But if you click here, you can read information. You can find the anti-war website, and you can find information about how you can make stickers and how you can go to protest. It was all made in the beginning of March 2022, when people were still hoping that they managed to organize a huge anti-war rally. Another way to make this situation to play with these innocent frames is like playing with advertisements. You can see a lot of advertisements, like, for example, when you can see in the big letters, it says that cheap package tours abroad. That's what you can find at the door of the buildings or on the street poles, for example. And if you come closer, you can read in smaller letters the cheap package tour abroad nationally. They won't be available unless we stop the war. Says no to war, says no to war, says no to war. So whom they are targeting? Their target, it's like a, I don't know, simple Russian woman, Maria Ivanovna, who goes to work with her dog, and while she is waiting, standing with her dog, she's reading these ads at the door. Maybe she don't read news on her smartphone very often, but she can use this information on the door. Or, for example, another example, the same, the computer repairman, computerный мастер, computer repairman won't come. He has been taken to war. And the stickers, to believe that there is no war, to believe that there is no war, and so on. A lot of such advertisements are playing with a frame of information about the dog which was lost. As you can see in this text, the dog was lost in big letters. It ran away after Russian invasion to Ukraine. Its name is future. Your kids will not have future if you will not fight against the war right now. 1,000 Ukrainian kids already lost their future. In big letters, reward. And so on and so on. Also, we can see even more complex messages. Instead of camouflage, I called it coded message, in Russian шифровка, because in coded messages, the text, if you don't know the code, is absolutely non-understandable. For example, there is 2 words literally written on the bench, 2 words. And because you can see this small check mark, you can guess that it says no war, нет войне. Or, for example, this is a cap with urim, and you need to guess that you need to read it backwards. So it's миру мир, peace to the world. A lot of people in the springtime of 2022, they use so-called very specific code plain with numbers 2 and 5, because the war, the phrase "нет войне", no war, contains 8 letters, 3 and 5. People start to write 3 plus 5, means нет войне, no war, or sometimes just 35 on the doorway, saying that on the doorway or the crossroads, saying that it also means no war. Or, for example, there is a two bottles of Russian brandy. And together they also create this anti-war slogan, because the first brandy has 3 asterisks. It's a quality of 3 asterisks, and the second one has quality of 5 asterisks. So together it's again no war. And asterisks, because in many newspapers they were afraid to use war, because you can be punished for that, and so instead sometimes they put asterisks instead of term war, война. Also, the very popular manner to say something about the situation is to use the symbol of the Bale Swan Lake, which was a part of the mourning ritual after the death of the Soviet leader. So very often after the Soviet leader in the late 70s and 80s died, then a lot of Swan Lake was on the screens of TV. And during the 1991 Soviet coup d'etat, it was Swan Lake was constantly shown on TV. There were no news, no information, only the ballet Swan Lake on over and over and over again. So people was trying to, and for now on, any mentioning of these dance means that I want Putin to die and I want situation to change. For example, I was searching just for this picture in YouTube, and I found out which comments were on the page with the official Swan Lake Ballet. See, there is a lot of comments like that. These citizens play this beautiful music on your streets. Let's not the classics die. I'm waiting for it to be shown on all federal channels. I'm ready to listen to it all the day long. We are looking forward to seeing you girls on all the channels of the country. So it's a indirect manner of speech, saying that we want Putin to die, we want situation to change. So that's why these symbols of Swan Lake became a part of these coded messages. And here you can see through 4 ballerinas from this famous small swan lake dance without heads. And also here you have 3 ballerinas and 5 ballerinas. This also can be read as no war, нет войне, and also and so on. Or sometimes people just use asterisks to say that something to say war, because they couldn't. They are playing with asterisks, and 8 asterisks means no war. And that's how happened that, as already Suzanne mentioned, young woman in Tyumen, she wrote нет в plus asterisks, and she managed to prove it to the judge. Well, at least the judge decided that he would like to believe her, that she meant no wobbler, because she doesn't like this type of fish, because wobbler and война sounds similar in Russian and have the same set of letters. And that's why wobbler became a very popular meme, and so in social media, and people starting to use this and instead to saying that they don't want this war, they're trying to say something like you can see here. And inside this virtual exhibition, you will find several examples of these plays with wobbler, with this fish, and that's why our exhibition called No Wobble. Also, sometimes you can find a very complicated type of coded messages, charade. You need the Chinese one is quite simple, but the second one from the Nizhny Novgorod, it's not that simple. It will take you, 5-10 minutes to decode this message. You can try if you want. So it's really a coded message. Also, there is another type of graffiti when people are trying to play with letters, so they make a letter inversion, so they change the consequence of letters, like pack your foot in, and so on. And sometimes the message can be also zero. So people trying to protest with zero sign. Here you can see a blank piece of paper as an act of dissent. In the April 2022, a young woman in Kazan, she was trying to protest with an empty piece of paper, and she got detained for that. Also, inside this exhibition, inside this site, you will find a very specific type of anti-war stickers and graffiti. I called it meta text because it's a graffiti who are talking about graffiti. For example, this is an inscription for which I will receive a term of 15 years. And also it's a very complicated type and very rare. It's called double bind. When, for example, you can see a picture of Putin, but Putin, his face was changed a little bit with a small mustache, so he looks like Hitler. And the inscription says, erase me. Why it's a double bind? Double bind is a situation when somebody, usually a person of authority, is sending you two oppositional signals, and person became frustrated and stuck. For example, like a mother is saying to her kid that don't smoke, it's very dangerous, and start to smoke. This is a double bind. Also this is a typical double bind, because if this is a game with a janitor who is cleaning these walls. For example, if this janitor will clean this image, he will clean the image of Putin, which also is a governmental crime. But if he will let it stay, he's kind of support Nazi regime. So that's why it's double bind. And the same is here. It says Vladimir Vladimirovich, but the part of the name Vladimir Vladimirovich, who is Putin, is written with asterisks. It's because in some cases, in political context, you also cannot mention now not only war, but peace. And some people were punished for this. So in this case, in the name of Vladimir Vladimirovich, the letter the letter mir, peace, were like ironically censored. It's also double bind. So shortly, this is a general overview of this exhibition. So in this exhibition, you can find types of messages, street art messages, like general about war. It's a type rebuke, when people are blaming somebody who are supporting the war, or sharing of emotions, or commemorative message, and also this authority-based message when people is using somebody else's voice. But also, all these messages can be divided in the different types of code. It can be direct message, counter message, camouflage, coded message, false message, zero message, and meta message. So it's all these plays are games organized against the different types of codes. So that's why it's highly important to start this exhibition through these chapters, when you can understand this idea of Kani week protest. And also there is a plenty of interesting, for example, there is a classification of stylistic means, how people were, how this street art was made, and where it was made, and how, and what types, handwritten graffiti, installations, origami, posters, puppet, green ribbon, and whatever. And also where it was put: bench, balcony, money bill, ground, glass, official poster, street sign, and so on and so on. So enjoy this exhibition. And I'm finishing my speech. Thank you a lot. So you can ask me or those who participated in organizing and collecting and translating these materials. Again, I can see here Lena Mikhailik, who helped us with translation, especially poetic texts. I can see here Yuri Lapshin, who helped me a lot with organizing this. Anna and Alexei.
Alexandra,
maybe there are some questions on YouTube, and I don't know.
Alexandra, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, fine. Thank you very much for the presentation. we have a look into the chat if there are some questions. Just a second. We have, okay, so far no questions, but I would like to add that we have posted all the links to your exhibition and also to the data set which is published on discussed data by the colleagues in Bremen. So everybody can have a direct hand on all the material we collected, as well as visiting the exhibition. Thank you very much. I think we together managed to implement a real important, not only exhibition, but documentation of the situation in Russia right now. If I would like to, yeah, please ask a question. And there is a question. There is a question.
Somebody asked us, interesting, is this type of exhibition could help to fight against the negative attitude toward those who run away from Russia? Well, yes and no. If the person is interested, I guess it can help. In other way, no. And another question: how much did you how much did your own site got different, like seeing that in New Balance sneakers? Honestly, I don't know how to answer this question. Maybe somebody who collects street art with me could answer that. And also, could you share your strategy for conducting interviews with these people, finding these respondents, building trust, etc.? But well, it's not that easy, but because it became this information that we build in this exhibition, it was spreading, and these semiotic guerrillas, the semiotic partisans, they really want to share what they're doing. They were talking to me and to Yuri and to Irina. But of course, there are many of those who are afraid. So I was not trying to build this trust specifically, like, I don't know, to write about it. Well, I just was expecting people and they come.
Can I add something for
these
answers? Hello, dear colleagues. My name is Yuri. I'm a psychologist, and I helped Alexandra and is helping her now with organizing and with collecting and so on and so on. And you know what? For the first question about seeing Z in different places, of course, it's very difficult to see that when I, going through, for example, French railways, I always, see sign of Z as a technical, sign of, I don't know what, and I'm getting sick all the time when I see it, and in New Balance also. So for us, it is absolutely a poisoned sign now for all of us Russian, And for the second question about the strategy, for me as a psychologist, there are two different, motivation for people who are trying to write, some signs, some graffiti, say something through this, writing. From one point of view, they want to be, to keep their personality in secret, to hide from, being noticed. But from the other side, they wanted to share their emotions, share their, thoughts and their attitudes to the war. And if this second motivation is greater than their fear to be, noticed, to be discovered, in this case, they would be ready to talk. And we know several cases when they want to talk, when they trying to reach, to contact us, and to tell about their feelings, to share their thoughts, their emotions with people, with us also. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I actually had the same question about finding those who share those street art protest signs with you. So this question was asked and answered, but I use now the opportunity to congratulate all of you for this, in my eyes, really amazing exhibition that shows this work on a micro level, this collecting on a small scale, but also showing something, this kind of micro level protest that is still there in the Russian society, despite all the threats. I think it's amazing what you have done. And I really do hope that the exhibition will be shared widely in Russia, as Susanne Schattenberg said, but I would also say in many other societies, also in other parts of Europe, to better understand those different perspectives on the war that are still existent in Russian society. But as you put it in the beginning, Alexandra, not to forget that these are the signs of the protest, but we also have to take into account all those who are not protesting due to different reasons. Thank you.
Thank you for these very supportive and nice words. Do you have any questions? I cannot look into YouTube comments. Do you have access to YouTube if there are any comments there?
We have to ask our colleagues who are watching the stream. I look at them. I have another question. Are you going on to collect further protests? Is your database closed now, or are you continuing? There are no questions, as I was informed. Alexandra, can you hear me?
Yes, I could.
Yeah, there are no questions in YouTube as far as we have looked at. And are you going to continue with the collection of the protests, or did you stop now?
This is a question basically for you, because after I spread the information that about this exhibition, everybody start to say, everybody, okay, I have a huge collection of photos from my own city. Why these pictures are not in this exhibition? Please add them. So now we just full with information. So it's a question to discuss, because if you want, we can proceed and make another additional put another piece of information inside this exhibition. But it's a question, it's a new opportunity, it's a question to discuss, because yes, this river of street art, it's maybe because it became less feasible, because again, there is a huge wave of repression against specifically graffiti artists but people are trying to make small pieces of street art, so they do exist.
Okay, that is interesting. We will discuss it with our colleagues from Bremen. So how to continue to have an update, maybe every certain amount of time, as long as this terrible war will continue.
Maybe we can continue. I think that we can continue, like, for example, asking pictures from not from Moscow and St. Petersburg, but from the smaller cities where are not represented in this exhibition, and maybe pictures, actual pictures like from the 2023.
Yeah, maybe the next one. I don't think that we have disabled the chat in YouTube as it has not been switched on. So we can ask everybody to send the question to us at the Gegen and we will forward them to you. What about this? That you can answer later with on your social media chat.
And there is a question about the art. Will there be enough offline version of this gallery, like Wikitorrent, or like, I don't know, like a book? I think, I don't know. It's also a question for the future discussions, because I would love to have this book, but it's a very expensive piece of work to print all these pictures. This album can be very, very expensive. And this exhibition, not yet this online exhibition, this site, not yet forbidden in Russia. So my friends and followers from Russia can see it. They're very happy.
That is really good. Hopefully it will last a while. We have a few copies now of the opening, and I think we will always have a way to publish the exhibition in a different form or a different platform. So we will keep that in mind. I think what is really good is that all the data material is already published, so it makes no sense to forbid the exhibition, because everybody can open access, get information about your project as well, together with the articles. We have all put in the chat, so and we can put it also on our homepage, so it will be published and available to all who are interested.
Okay, thank you.
I just wanted to ask an additional question. How did you collect those photos, or how did you select specifically them? You can now see on your site.
Well, I have a Telegram channel in Russia, so I ask people who are reading my Telegram channel, can they send me pictures of what they can see on the streets in their cities? So that's how we collect pictures from more than 50 Russian cities, and people start to send pictures. We prefer to take pictures which were seen by their own eyes, not from internet, not from blogs, Facebook, and so on, because sometimes people make a wrong attribution. So the picture from one city was declared to be in another city, and so on and so on. But sometimes we took pictures from newspapers and media too, but in rare cases. But basically, that's what people were sending us, and in a very boring way, I was asking everybody if these pictures really were seen. Somebody from the family really saw them. It's quite important.
Okay, any further questions? Online and here. So once again, thank you very much. Your impressive network was very, very busy, and I have to, I'm sorry, I'm not seeing. I have to talk to the camera. Yes.
Somebody was wrote that fighting green ribbon feels so different. Yes, because the green ribbon was invented by well, nobody knows who invented this, but people was using this as a symbol of anti-war resistance, and it's very easy to put a green ribbon everywhere. So when you see it, you feel differently. That's why I was trying to describe all this talk, that people are feeling that they're lonely, and when they can see the sign of those who think the same, it gives you hope. And all this story is about hope. That's why one of my graffiti artists, she told me that she preferred to make these small, very small figurines of Ukrainian people. I call this type of protest nano protest, because people are trying to make a very small toy, like toys, like Lego toys, the size of Lego toys, figures, and they put Ukrainian flag on or Ukrainian the colors of Ukrainian flag, and they put them in the public spaces. But the idea is, when I was talking to the author of this idea, she told me that I want these, I want passerby who was passing by to show these small figures, toy figures, and to feel good emotions, to feel empathy. I want people to want people to take them in their hands, to look at them, to touch them. So we don't need to write big slogans large slogans about hate. We need to talk about love. And this is a position which surprisingly became very popular among graffiti artists, not to talk about hate, to talk about love. To try to share the good emotions, to find your allies.
Yes, there's no doubt. This exhibition is a sign of hope, and I think it's especially important also for the Western world, because you cannot see across the curtain, as Maren has said so far.
Yeah. Iron curtain is back.
Yeah. Okay, and if there are no questions and no remarks anymore, we will stop it here. We will have that stream on YouTube. Everybody can look, and I invite hereby everybody who has joined us today just to spread the news about this exhibition and to take his or her time and have their own look at the exhibition, because it's so many examples, and it is going so deep. If you look at this, you need some time, because you cannot all at once bear all these tragic and also dark information. So thank you very much, but it's a sign of hope for us all. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Then we will stop here, we stop the stream, we let you go, and we hope to see you again for the next selection or the next version of that exhibition. Thank you very much. Also to the colleagues in Bremen who came up to us with this idea, and also to all your followers. You said you have about 90,000 followers. I think